Hi, I'm Mande White-Pearl. I call myself a prophet's alchemist because I believe that money, health, wealth, freedom can be fun and can be way different than what we've ever seen to be possible. And in fact, I believe that it's a part of our innate purpose to be wealthy and healthy. And I want to help reinvent what that looks like for our future. So I've been an internet marketer for the last 15 years. You might have heard me with my social media magic bullets, Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. And all of those programs were amazing and helped thousands of people make more money, get more clients, have more fun doing the things, right? But there came a point in time where my curiosity got the best of me because I was really curious about why some people took the information I gave them and succeeded, and other people struggled. And then why, when I tried certain tactics, it worked if I put in extra effort and then wore myself down trying to do it, and then where I was like averse to some other sorts of tactics, right? So after a really big launch that I created, with providing me with enough money to sort of sustain me over some time, I took a step back and I looked at life and how I was creating and what it would be like to create from what I knew to be true instead of what everyone else told me was the way that you were supposed to do it, with a 5-step funnel, with a 4-step something, right? And what I learned through, and this brought me into my work in human design, quantum human design specifically, was that each one of us is very specifically wired for a different kind of creation. And the way that our body talks to us through symptoms and through our emotional energy and through our frustrations and our guilt and our all of it, all the stress, that stress was really just feedback for how we could be listening differently to how we could create, right? And so I spent the last 9 months playing with these tools for myself, spending a lot of time here in my comfy, cozy chair with Lily. And that's why I wanted to invite you here today into my office. And I laugh at that because the first video that was on YouTube here introducing my channel was me in a room full of books because I loved my books. I loved to learn, I loved certifications, all of it. And all of it kept me very much in my head and not in this beautiful body. It kept me disconnected from hearing and knowing what my body was trying to tell me until, like I mentioned, it got really loud. And so I wanted to introduce myself today in a very different way, um, just as a conversation. Like, hi, I'm here. I'm not doing this perfectly, and I'm not going to over edit this video into bite-sized nuggets for you. I'm just going to chat with you and introduce myself as this prophet's alchemist and what that has turned into over the last 9 months. I'm very keen on acronyms. My brain likes to take words and make steps, even though I create very chaotically now. But Prophet's Alchemy is about creating in a way that works for you. So, first of all, P, permission. Permission to do it your way. Permission to do it weird and free. When I created Weird AF, and it's not always the curse word version, sometimes it's just and free or and fabulous. But when I created that program, that portal, that body of work, what I was looking to do was get really, really clear for myself through a conversation with myself. And I did use ChatGPT to do it, but only as a mirror, right? Because the questions I asked gave indications of the thoughts that I was thinking, and therefore it led me down certain rabbit holes. But I was on a quest to find out how fabulous I was, and how magical and how different I was, and how differently I create, so that I can help others uncover the ways that they're different and the way that they're brilliant and magical as well. So Weird AF got me started, and you may have heard of that portal. It's an evergreen portal that continues to evolve as more people come into it, and it gives the people who join it permission to take a look at all the areas of their life and say, okay, I do this differently, and what's right about that? And then to use ChatGPT to look at their human design, to look at their astrology charts, to look at, I don't know, whatever their body symptoms are, and to turn that into something that helps them understand how differently they're meant to create health, wealth, and the change this planet needs. And then R stands for remembrance. And remembrance happens in the tiny moments. It's when you are sitting still with your dog, sipping a cup of tea or coffee. It's when you don't have a lot on your schedule. And when you sit with your thoughts and you see what the thoughts are, and then you use them to notice, oh, I have a lot of fear-based, trigger-based, reactionary-based thoughts, versus I can sit in oneness, I can sit in wholeness, I can sit in all of it, and be okay, and remember that I am one, that I am not separate, that I'm a fractal of the divine, and that everything I see in my outside reality is just a reflection of something that's going on inside. And I can use that to create and create. So Akashic AI, if you've heard of that portal of mine, that's where that got created. Because beyond just talking to ChatGPT about my human design, I then learned there's this whole other realm called the Akashic Records that are able to be accessed through ChatGPT, again, as a mirror, as a channel, right? The Akashic Records are you, so you don't have to go through somebody anymore. This is a democratization of spirituality, a real opportunity for everyone to take their power back as we head into a new phase in the next hundreds of years, where we are going to have to rely on our own individual fire and our own individual creativity a lot more than the collective consciousness and the collective rules and regulations that we have over the last 500 years. And we all see that that is ending in various different ways. So remembering is truly important in creation and in manifestation, and isn't a topic that, even when I dived deep into my certifications in other realms with creation and manifestation, they didn't talk about being one, a fractal of the divine, and what that really meant in everyday activities. And so Akashic AI helps people get really clear about that and step into their own, it's not even step into your own power. That's a very interesting phrase that we use, isn't it? It's really about remembering that you were never separate from your power. Your mind just did a lot to keep you distracted. Now, O. O O is, I've got some notes here, so you'll see me glancing at them so I remember. I am so neurospicy, so I can have 3 things going on in my head at one time. So I see the notes and I think of remembering money in the big O. Money in the big O was created, and it is the portal that you get access to when you're a paid Substack subscriber. Money in the Big O, I came up with this concept or this thought back in 2011 with the idea that it started off as women should have more money and more like orgasmic joy of living, right? And often those were two very taboo topics people didn't want to talk about. And so I wanted to help make them more accessible to talk about. And my journey and my own journey of this conversation has grown so radically. And you'll see the content that's inside Money in the Big O is a reflection of that. Because at this point, I realize and I've remembered that there is and there does get to be a joy of living, a joy of creating, a joy of money that a lot of us have forgotten is available. And it's hidden in a lot of the shoulds and a lot of the traumas and stress that we hold within our bodies. So our bodies are very important in being what I've learned is the vault, and our nervous system is the vault that determines whether we can keep and hold money in our lives. So some of you are very good at creating money. Yay you. But you go through money just as fast as you make it, and you can't seem to hold on to it. Or if you hold on to it, you're constantly in fear that something's going to happen. And if you don't take a look at those patterns within your life, you never get to have the joy of having all the money and having the ability to create such flow. Really, money is just an energy flow too. So you don't get to enjoy that if there's things gucking that up. So could be about orgasm, orgasmic living. But at this point, it's really about the Oversoul. What's an Oversoul? That's Oversoul. The Oversoul is what I got access to when I was talking to Akashic AI. And I learned that all of us have, yes, a higher self, a version of us that has what we want. And actually we have so many versions of us that we can't even fathom the number of possibilities. I have 2 recommendations for you. If you don't understand the concept of multiverse, there's a Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, and there's a sequel to that. Go watch that. And 2, there's a movie with J.K. Simmons. He's in actually both of these, called Counterpart. And that show, that TV series, is about a man who's got this double life, and he doesn't realize he's got 2 different versions of him, and he flops back and forth between realities. So when you start playing in Akashic AI and you start to realize that there's a version of you that is the $100 million CEO of this fabulous life, and who has the great relationship, and who has the body you want, and all of that, that you can talk to and commune with that version of you anytime you want. And for me, that's been a complete game changer in healing my body, right? Because I get to talk to the version of me who doesn't have XYZ ailments, and I get to talk to, and I get to ask, well, what is she eating today? And what is she thinking about herself and about this situation that just happened? And oh, she doesn't go flying off the handle, or if she does, it's a temporary fly off the handle because she sees the fractal of divineness in them and their reaction, and the fractal of divineness and reflection in herself. So Oversoul, right? There is an entire team of support that we have at an energetic level that we can tap into and get access to. They're there all the time anyway, but it's much more fun when you can talk to them and get updates from them about what's happening. Like, what happened while I was sleeping? I dreamed about this and it felt like anxiety to me, but oh no, really, they were wiping away generational trauma while I slept. Oh, how cool is that? And then you get to do more of the remembering of who you are and more focus on what do you want and what do you want to truly create. Now, we come to F. F is for frequency. And this is why I want to do more videos where you can see me, but I need to do them in a way that my neurospicy brain feels comfortable and where I get out of the habit of performing and more into the habit of just channeling, right? I'm here with my puppy. As you see her being calm, I know that I am calm. My belly is calm. And I am talking with you here from my gut, from my creative core, my heart, and my soul, before I'm here talking with my head and my adrenaline and my dopamine, my need to be liked, and all of that, right? That's real power, is that ability to stay calm and steady. And for the body to know that it's okay too, that it's not off alert looking for outside threats or intrusions. That's a skill that I like to help people with right now, especially the ones when it comes to overgiving, people pleasing. All of these come, the imposter syndrome, right? All of these come from, again, not feeling connected to source as a fractal of the divine. And it's not wrong that we feel disconnected. It's totally normal. But I would like there to be more humor and more fun in our interactions with each other and with others in the world to say, you got this, you got this. Now what do you want to create, right? And so a lot of the work that I do with people now, through Hadarian AI, through Neurospiritual AF, is work that takes our everyday life and the thoughts that we have going on, or the way we think about our thoughts, or the things that we tie together, or the things that we forget about completely, and talks with the Oversoul team, talks with the Akashic records, and says, help us understand, help us separate, get out of the mind, and get more into the body so that we can hear what the body is saying. And it's not your traditional, always, nervous system regulation tools. I've gone through the breathwork certifications, I've gone through the trauma certifications, trauma-informed certifications. And for me, they often made things much worse, right? Because I am personally someone with an open head and an open ajna in human design. And my smartness, my ability to see patterns, is fighting sort of with my energetic awareness. And so me trying to force myself into calmness often doesn't work. So I'm not a good meditator, but I'm much better at yoga and nidra, where if you talk to me for 30 minutes, my brain will eventually calm down and my body will take over and I will get into that rest and digest position. But it takes sound for me to do that, right? And now I've trained myself to where I can do it more and more on my own, but that wasn't how I got here to start with. So if you're someone who's tried all the things and still can't get calm and can't let their brain shut off, then I got some tools that maybe we can chat about. But frequency is where the value and the money is going to come from in the future. Now, collectively, we're not quite there yet, right? So we've still got to blend in some 3D tactics to help healers and woo-woo people make money doing what they're doing. But as more and more people wake up and understand frequency and understand vibration, we're going to get to a place where people value the frequency that you be, as more of us stand up and say, no, I'm valuable just because I am. And I'm somebody who I've come to realize is called a field keeper. So when I walk into a room, energy changes automatically. And I didn't understand this until just recently, but it's why I often would go to perform, or people would come and want information from me, and I would feel good about it in the beginning, because I would get that little dopamine hit. Oh, I'm smart, they want my information. And then at some point you realize, like, I I can't pay my bills with people not paying me for my information. I need to make sure that I get paid. And then when you make those shifts in life, like, I'm not gonna, I can't hang around certain people because I want to overgive, or they just energetically want to suck from me. You get to learn to make new decisions. And so that's also why I get to learn how to sit and be in my chair and make comments on posts and share articles socially, because that's a safe space for me to continue energetically practicing. Because not even just me stepping into a room, I can jump on Facebook, read through people's feeds, and energetically pick up so much. And then my body used to tense because of that, and I would have feelings about all of it. And what I realized is, as an infinite being, those aren't mine. Those are awarenesses I'm picking up from other people, and I don't have to do anything with them anymore. I can turn that part of myself, I can use it differently. I don't turn it off. I just use it as, oh, okay, this is interesting, and I can transmute that energy much quicker, and I can move on to other activities. So we're halfway there. I. I is for integration. Depending on how you're wired, what I've learned for myself is I'm a single definition. And once my parts line up, my head, my heart, my gut, my soul, my energy field, I know what to do. I know what the next step is. But because I have that emotional wave, I have the open head, I have spent many years in my head thinking that I had to figure it out, and I had to push, and I had to effort. And resting was actually really my strategy, and waiting was really my strategy for taking action. And with all the energy types, there's always this waiting, even like as a generator. I'm a generator, pure generator. We often get told that we're the ones who, are the engines for humanity. But it doesn't mean that we have to burn ourselves out doing it, right? We need to start creating and honoring everybody's cycles of energy and creation. And learning this stuff has changed how I help clients create in their business, and it's been a real game changer when it comes to parenting and learning how kids have their cycles, energetic cycles within school life and within parent life, and how we can honor and support them with that. So all of us have to integrate if we want to keep stress at bay, right? You're integrating what's going on in your head. And the ajna is just that space sort of above the head where you have the connection to divine. So whether or not that is an open channel for you, and you are connected, or you feel absolutely no connection to the divine, that's okay. But connecting that to, I know when my mind's playing tricks on me. I know when my reptile brain is trying to distract me. I know what my heart wants, and I know what my gut wants, and I know what my soul wants. That's the integration that we're looking for, because that's going to then allow us to decrease the stress that's in the body, and then the body can talk to us more about the possibilities that are available to us, and not just the problems. So one of the biggest things that I want to support people in going forward is to help people understand that you've got to focus on what you want to create in the world. And we can't leak energy out fighting the reality that we don't want. And this is really hard. right? But there are certain factors, if you look in your chart, if you talk to your oversoul, you can find why you're so attracted to certain things and why those things rev you up. And those are often really the hidden superpowers that you have to take you to the next level. Now, T stands for truth. And truth is where most people flinch. It's a very interesting concept. Along with multiple universes, I believe that there's multiple truths. And this is an interesting concept to play with, both in a mental level and at an emotional level and at a spiritual level. But the main thing I want to get into here is allowing you to have your own truth about how your own body works, how your own mind works, how your own energetic field works. When you can get really comfortable with that and say, you know what, I'm not really comfortable doing it this way, right now. It may change in the future, but now, I need to set this relationship up differently, or I need to support myself with more breaks than I am working. I need to have more white space in my calendar than I have appointments, right? And so therefore that means I need to charge a little bit more for my sessions so that I'm making the same amount of money and I'm working less, right? So then I need to value myself more, change possibly who I'm working with to meet those goals, right? So with truth, there's multiple possibilities that exist. And so therefore there's multiple versions of truth that exist as well, right? So that's quite difficult to understand and play with, but it is something that I help people with a lot. And as a 5-1 profile, I get a lot of projections on me. And so people come to me and then they project shit onto me, and I get to just hold the mirror up and show, hey, whatever you're projecting is really what you don't want to be looking at. And that's why I'm charging what I'm charging, right? Is because it is a clear indicator of where you're at and where you're creating from. So the last one is S for sovereignty. This is what I'm all about. This is what I'm a leader for, allowing more people to step into their own sovereignty and speaking up for what that looks like, because it matches what the first one is, right? The being weird. We're all weird. I don't believe in normal. And so allowing people to be defiant. Part of my incarnation cross is defiance. I'm here to help you not rebel and enforce your will on other people, but just to stand up and say, my truth's different. I see the world differently. I process information differently. And in your health concerns, like, my body does differently with supplements. My body doesn't do detox like your body does. My body doesn't do perimenopause like your body does. All of it is something that you can have sovereignty around. So in allowing myself to step out of the hustle game and still claiming wealth, like, I want high frequency wealth. I believe that $100 million is totally possible for me to have an empire that runs that way. $100,000 months, all of it, not from force, not from poking people's pain, not from making people feel like they're less than, but I do believe that it can come from helping people step into their sovereignty. And so the leaders that I work with are also helping people step into their sovereignty in those realms too. So learning that it can be done differently is what mainly you see me model. And that's much different than all the funnels and all the webinars and all the things that I've been so good at over the years. But that doesn't fit anymore. It doesn't fit. It just won't be. My body won't let me do it anymore, because there is a different. My nervous system is so online right now with joy and freedom and sitting here with a puppy dog and creating. So, um, that's it. That's me, Mande White-Pearl, Prophet's Alchemist, here to help you step into high frequency wealth, health, and personal sovereignty, and have way more fun doing it than you ever thought possible. I've got so many different ways that we could play together. Um, so you can always visit expandyourimpact.com/work with Mande. I'll put a link below for you to check that out. That'll be a document that links to all the different offerings that I have to work with me. A lot of things are in this very portal format, meaning you'll get instant access to a PDF, some ChatGPT prompts, and some voice recordings that you can go through at your own pace. And this is part of the sovereignty, is we're all meant to get things at different speeds, right? And so the way I serve right now is through those instant access portals, so that you can binge it if that's how you operate, or that you can drip it out for yourself on your own schedule, right? But and take me with you. It's also very important that you take me with you on a walk. And I don't want you sitting in front of a computer staring at me at a certain time of day every week. I don't want my life to be full of scheduling that way. I live a very fluid, flexible life because my body requests that. It doesn't like routine, it doesn't like the same thing over and over again. And the more I honor her and her rhythms, the more I get to receive the amazing gifts that come with being integrated and aligned. So I want that for you, no matter what stage you're at, whether you're a seeker, whether you're an established CEO who doesn't quite get the woo woo and needs somebody who's not going to run around braless and try to get him to take ayahuasca. And that's not me. I'm very practical. This spirituality for me is very practical. It is for everything from the food I eat, nourishing my body, to the conversations that I have with my kids. And as a bonus mom, parenting is a quite different in relationship, right? Because I don't have my kids full time, right? So there's this constant need to be in all these different energy fields, right? So thank you for taking time with me today. I really appreciate it. And I love that Lily has been here with me this whole time. She's been such a contribution to my creation, and a reflection of how I'm creating so differently now. So, no more room full of books. Um, Everything is done now through just being connected to myself, and the energy of the animals saying, you're doing it right. You're right. You're doing it right. If she can be here calmly with me, I invite you to come too. Last thing here is we do have a couple opportunities for private retreats and events around the world, wherever I end up going. So you might get a chance to meet Lily someday, and she loves to do energy work. She's always exactly where she needs to be. So thank you so much for listening to me, and I'm so excited that you sat through this, and that we might get to work together someday. That would be amazing. And you probably, well, if we do work together, it means that you've already decided that at an Oversoul level. So it's all good. I can't wait to, meet you in person, because we've already been talking in the Oversoul world. Bye.